Chatting with Sarah right here in the studio, and our phones are going nuts. This happens every show we do. The phones are always beeping, people trying to SMS. Like, just jump on hardcoreclassic.com if you want to talk to us directly. We're busy people.
I jump in the chat sometimes myself.
That's it.
Terminator was trying to hit me up on my phone. I was like, yo, get in the chat.
So let's talk Terminator. How are you feeling about the new film?
I'm so super excited. I think they've made the best casting decision in the world.
Continue, yeah. I thought that, yeah, definitely. Khaleesi, yeah?
Yeah, it's Khaleesi Daenerys. I think it's
See, I'm not a Game of Thrones person, so I was taking a big risk. I had my fingers crossed saying
she's
that.
She's a brunette, though.
So she's flipping.
Khaleesi as a brunette is not as exciting as Khaleesi as a blonde, and I'm usually a brunette guy.
Hey, Sarah Connor has got to be a brunette.
I know, but I'm just saying, like, it's good that she's obviously got to do it, but I like her better as Khaleesi.
Amelia
with the dragons and stuff, right?
Yeah,
like she needs the dragons.
Do you think Terminator needs some dragons? That's what's missing from the franchise. Put those things in there.
Yeah. An interesting trailer the second trailer came out recently, in the last week.
And they're flipping the whole John Connor thing.
Yeah, someone actually made a really valid point. And it's ruined the surprise now.
A little bit, yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point.
Like, that would have just been one of those moments in film where you just would have gone like, oh my God.
That's huge. That's a big break.
That's the stomach drop, yeah.
Yeah. You wonder if that's a weird thing to let out early. You wonder if someone...
Maybe they got more in store. Speaking of more in store, we got somebody on the chat right here by the name of Trish who wants to know if you have any interstate shows on the cards.
No, look, that's definitely the plan. The main plan for the moment is really getting the EP to a standard that I'm happy with before it's out, because once you put it out, you can't take it back. But I think touring is a really important way to support yourself and a way to promote your product.
Definitely.
So that's really an essential aspect of it as well. So look, I'm really excited. I've actually never done shows outside the state.
Wow.
So I would be really excited. I had thought about, maybe we could manage an East Coast tour and be able to pull that off.
Sorry, Perth.
But maybe we'll extend it to Adelaide.
We still consider Adelaide East Coast. It's just really just Perth over there.
Poor Perth, man.
Perth. Even Tassie's over here, you know?
I hear it. Sorry, I just have to make sort of a comment to frame that laugh I made before. You don't understand the eyes and the looks Randy shoots you in the studio. Now Sarah's seen this. It puts you off your game totally.
What do you mean? What did I do?
He just shot me this look that just...
What kind of look was it?
It was the look. It was the look.
The look of love.
That's it. So, yeah. You're on 2SER 107.3 FM, and we're chatting with the Hilltop Hoods 2015 APRA Initiative winner. And you also just did Unearthed for Triple J as well. What's involved with that, like just from an artist perspective?
So I put my tracks up on Unearthed, which was really good. Sometimes they might take a little while to kind of get picked up, and when they do, it's really good because you connect your Twitter to it and you get a tweet every single time you play it on the radio. So I find that exciting because I'll be like, hey, cool. I'll be sitting at work or whatever, and I'm like, yeah, I'm on digital radio, which is really nice. And then it was something that made me a little bit suspicious, but Triple J Unearthed contacted me and were like, we want you to come in to be the feature artist next week. You have to come tomorrow. And I'm like, oh, I can't come tomorrow because Friday was the public holiday. Like, okay, well, you should come tonight. I'm like, okay, this is very sudden. And then an hour later, Hilltop Hoods gave me a call.
Ah, okay.
I don't know if they're connected at all, but it was just kind of double excitement there. Triple J giving you a call.
Yeah,
so
it would have been a really good week, man, getting those 2 phone calls.
Yeah, but the good thing for artists when they are picked up as a feature artist is, I was noticing again, through the tweets that I was getting a lot of regular plays. Like I think on the first day, I had about 5 plays on radio, all about 2 hours apart. So there's really regular rotation for the artists as well. And I think it's good to keep an eye on who becomes the feature artist each week, read their interview, learn from those interviews and find out what other artists are doing.
For sure. On that note, I did read that you were looking to maybe connect with some of the past winners of the initiative, just for advice. And has that happened? Have you had any sort of talks with them?
Yeah, I had a bit of a chat with IMD, which is really cool.
Just let you know, IMD. Not him. IMD.
You are the Randy.
Randy.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, that's...
Just
Okay,
the D,
go
just the
back-
D. But let's
back
go
as you
back
were,
to
as
serious
you were.
conversation.
So yeah, it was really good to have a chat with him about how his year had been. Certainly, you know, keen to speak to other artists as well. Learning how to put out your own music, particularly if you're a solo artist, I find is really important. And it's one of those things, sometimes there's not a lot of information out there how to do that. And the people that have come forward and been able to give me a lot of advice and assistance, even just other artists in Sydney, and some from the smaller labels, I'm very grateful that they've been able to do that because it really gives you independence.
Yeah, yeah. And look, this is a little bit heavy. You're one of the few female artists who have taken out the initiative.
Yeah.
And also there's somewhat, I think, you know, looking at the stayfly lineup as well, a little bit of a wave happening of some really dope new female artists. You know, I know that you connect with Madam Wu for your live sets and things like that. Big shout out to the crew. Someone did say to me last night they felt like this was the year of the female hip-hop artist. How do you feel about that? Is there a bit of a movement? Is there something you're seeing?
Yeah, look, I definitely think the time is now. And I know a lot of people will sometimes look and say lots of different groups in Australia have sometimes been a little bit neglected in hip-hop. And I certainly don't want to take away from any of those other groups as well that may have been pushed aside a little bit, you know, particularly by some negative attitudes and things like that. But for me, it is an exciting time. You know, I just think the time is right now. And it's been really good. And, you know, like having so many of guys in the scene supporting us and giving us a lot of advice and encouragement and giving that skill development and those resources has been really helpful.
I mean, look, you're a veteran of the local scene. You know, you've been emceeing for a while and honing your skills. Why do you think now is the time? Is there anything in particular that's happening with the sound or the craft or what's being said? Like, I have my opinion. I'm just asking,
I mean, I have my opinion too, and it's... I'm not so much looking, say, at external factors. I can't say that it's because of any, you know, the rise of any other particular artists or anything like that that have given that. For me, I feel... you know, it just took time. I sometimes say maybe this is just my experience, and I certainly do not want to or say that I speak on behalf of all women out there or even all the women that I'm connected with. But for me, it took a really long time to actually learn a lot of stuff. You will find that so many women are solo artists. They're not in crews. Sometimes we're not encouraged from a young age when we're 15 or 16, you know, to be in the bedroom or the garage with all our with all our friends making beats and learning about samples and things like that. We're very much operating as lone wolves. And unfortunately, sometimes that can mean it can take a lot of years and you have to walk the hard road to actually build your skill. So for me, I'm really excited that there's a lot of other women out there, particularly, you know, with what Code of Conduct have done in dropping an EP and just going on a tour as well to support that. For me, you know, I had an opportunity to say just the other night, now that one person's done it, we know how to do it. So there's someone out there who you can actually ring up and go, okay, how do you book a tour? How do you get your CDs pressed? How do you actually get your stuff mastered? And to learn all of that stuff. So it's good that there's actually a lot of girls out there that are connecting and continuing to build that resource network.
Definitely.
Two things though. Understandably, agree with what you say, but why then, with all the guys that you know that have released and done tours before, why were those answers not available to you prior?
Again, sometimes I think it goes down to if you're working with soloists, you're often a little bit by yourself and sometimes a little bit isolated.
So would it be fair to say that part of the reason why all of this is happening right now is collectives like Stayfly, you know, and bringing all the women together, and so that it's not this kind of staring across the room at the other girl who does hip hop and being like, oh, there's not enough room for both of us. It's a bit of teamwork going on amongst the women.
Sure. I think that has an element, but we shouldn't also neglect that there's been a lot of guys out there that have been really helpful as well.
Completely.
And I mean, I don't know what it was like from the guy perspective. Did guys out there feel when they actually looked out at the landscape and go, hey, like, oh, there's 8, you know, big you know, whether it's a big festival lineup or something like that, and go, there's not a single woman on this entire
I
lineup.
think the guys that we hang out with
Yeah.
definitely notice when there's a shortage
Sure.
of women in any aspect of the scene.
Sure. But whether, like, for me,
Not like that, Izzy. I saw you laughing over there.
for example, I can say, you know, the person who gave me the best advice on how to, you know, submit my application and actually how to plan a budget was a guy from the Sydney hip hop community, from one of the local labels here, who gave me the most advice actually how to do that. So I think it's...
Shout him out. Shout him out.
Peace Murph.
What
Big
up,
Village.
Peace Murph?
Thank you.
Big up, P.
Who gave me the most advice in relation to doing that. So again, I think there's also been a lot of guys out there who are willing to donate their time and their expertise and their knowledge to supporting girls get on the mic.
I think from an audience perspective, pardon me, there's just an energy that, you know, there's a fresh energy, there's a certain urgency, and there's something to say. Like, I think local hip hop for the guys, you know, as an audience member, I'm tired of the same dudes, the same angry persona walking backwards and forwards with the same insecurities being voiced and all the tough projection for that. You know, last night it was people who were having fun doing music, and that's like a rare thing to get. So, and that's definitely being embraced by the female artists here. So it's really, really cool to see. Well, thank you so much for joining us on the show. You stay in the studio as well, yeah? If we have some more questions coming in for you on the chat and stuff like that, if the Terminator's still looking for you.
Guys.
And just in terms of that field being dominated by the boys, I'm going to play your entry for the Briggs King of the Town competition, your track Treason. Now, how many entries were there roughly?
I think there was like 83.
83.
'Cause
Yours was the only
I went on, and you could like put in a hashtag or something like that, and they all came up. And I was looking through, and I was looking through to see, like, for example, I'll just come out and say it. Like, I was looking through to see whether Dawn Laird entered, or whether, you know, any of the other girls that I've, you know, known for a couple of years entered. So I'm looking through, and then I'm like, it was about the night before, and I'm like, I'm the only girl that's there. So
we might have to hook up like a remix or something. That's got me hyped to hear you and